Hello everyone. In this video, we will learn about PERT and CPM, the two popular techniques in project management that help us plan, schedule, and control complex projects. Project management means using skills, tools, and techniques to complete a project successfully. It includes planning what to do, organizing the task, managing the time, and checking the progress. Whether you're building a house, launching a product, or fixing an airplane, project management helps you stay on track and avoid delays. So after this lesson, you will be able to first understand what PERT and CPM are and how they are used in project management. Second, identify the steps to plan, schedule, and control a project. Third, draw and interpret project network diagrams. Fourth, recognize common errors and avoid them when planning. Fifth, calculate early and late start to finish times. Six, identify the critical path and understand its importance. And lastly, estimate time using PERT formulas with optimistic, most likely, and pessimistic durations. So PERT stands for Project Evaluation and Review Technique, and it was created in 1958 for the US Navy's Polaris missile project. It is used when times are not sure or can change. CPM stands for Critical Path Method, and it was made in 1957 to help with factory and construction work where times are known and fixed. These are network-based techniques that help in planning and controlling projects, especially when there are many tasks to manage. Both are called network-oriented techniques. This means we use diagrams or network to show the order of tasks in a project. These techniques help in deciding the schedule when each task should start and finish. Now, both methods are time-oriented, meaning their goal is to manage time well. So, what's the difference? In CPM, we use deterministic time. This means each task has a fixed time estimate. In PERT, we use probabilistic time. We give three time estimates because task durations are uncertain. So, we use CPM when we're confident about how long a task takes, and PERT when we are not sure and need to plan for different scenarios. For example, you are baking a cake and you've done it many times before, and then it will always takes 30 minutes. So that's a CPM. But if it's your first time baking a new recipe, you might say that the fastest is 25 minutes if everything goes well, the most likely is 30 minutes, and the longest is 40 minutes if problems happen. So that's the PERT. So CPM is used in production management like in factories. This is because tasks are repeated and timing is more predictable, while PERT is commonly used in project management, especially for new or non-repetitive jobs like research and development, creating a new product, and building something that never built before. These jobs are full of uncertainties, and PERT helps plan for the best, normal, and worst case scenarios. So, where can we actually use PERT and CPM? These two tools are very useful in real world projects, especially when the project has many tasks that must be done in the right order and within a deadline. Here are some common applications. First, construction projects like building a dam, canal, highway, or mga buildings. So these projects have many tasks and teams. Timing and sequence are very important. So PERT and CPM helps make sure everything is done on time. And next is aircraft and machinery maintenance, like overhauling an airplane or maintaining an oil refinery. So these jobs are complex and need careful planning to avoid downtime. So CPM helps schedule the work step by step. Next is Space and technology projects, like for example, planning a space flight or launching a satellite. So PERT is useful because timings may not be exact, and it helps predict best case and worst case completion times. Next is cost control. Projects often go over budget, so PERT and CPM helps track where time or resources are being wasted so managers can act early. Last is new product development. For example, you are designing a prototype of a machine or developing supersonic planes. So these are research-based tasks where duration is uncertain. So PERT gives you flexibility in planning and helps avoid delays, whether it's construction, maintenance, space missions, or new inventions. PERT and CPM are powerful tools that help you plan smarter, save time, and stay on budget. So let's now go to the four basic steps when using PERT and CPM in a project. These steps help you plan, schedule, and control everything in a smart and organized way. So step one, planning. So in short, the break of the project into small tasks or activities. For example, if you're building a house, task could be laying foundation, building walls, installing plumbing, and so on. Find the order of tasks and assign responsibilities. Who will do that? So step two is scheduling. Prepare a time chart to show when each task starts and finishes. Use a network diagram to link tasks in order. Find the critical path, the longest path that tells us the shortest time to finish the whole project. Also, find flute or slack. Time some tasks can be delayed without delaying the whole project. So, on step 3, allocation of resources. Assign people, money, equipment, and space to each task. If resources are limited, like only one machine, adjust the schedule to avoid clashes. For example, if two tasks need the same machine at the same time, one may need to wait or use an alternative. Step 4, controlling. Monitor the project's progress regularly. If there are delays or problems, update the plan. For example, if materials delivery is late, reschedule tasks that depend on it. Make sure everything is on track, time-wise and budget-wise. So in summary, plan what needs to be done and schedule the timing of each task, assign resources wisely, and control the project to fix problems early.
So now let's continue to the framework for PERT and CPM. And then this is essential. There are 6 steps which are common to both. The techniques procedure is nasa ubos. So first step is define the project define the project, identify the project, and list all all significant activity or task, ensuring there is one start and one finish activity. So next step is develop relationship. So what I did, you determine the sequence of the activities, specifying which task must proceed or follow others. Then next step is draw the network. Create a network diagram connecting all activities, assigning unique events, and then events number, and using dummy arrows in necessary to avoid the numbering conflict. Next step is ang ikaapat is assist estimate, provides time and or cost estimate for each activity. Next is compute the critical path and identify the longest time path through the network known as the critical path. And then next step is plan and monitor you plan and monitor, then utilize the network for effective planning, scheduling, monitoring, and controlling of the project. So, the critical activities on the longest path are vital as they dictate the project success. Non-critical activity can be adjusted without impacting the overall timeline. So that could be for the framework for PERT and CPM. So next is the network diagram presentation. So diri is there are some nga atong dapat i-include para for making network diagram presentation. First is activity. Ang activity is an operation using resources with a defined start and end presented by an arrow. Categories include first is the predecessors activity must be completed. Kani siya is must be completed before another can start. Next is ang successors activity. Kani is cannot start until preceding activities are completed. So ayan na siya ma-start pag nahuman tong uban nga activities. Next is ang concurrent activities. Kani siya is can occur simultaneously with others. So, pwede siya makisabay sa uban nga activities. Then, next is dummy activities. Kani siya, it represents a dependency without using resources used to clarify patterns in situation where activities share starting, finish point, or maintain precedence relationship. So, ang next na to is ang event. So, in event, a point in time making the end of some activities and the start of other presented by a circle or node. Categories include merge event, multiple merge event. So, kani siya is multiple activities converge at one point. Next is ang burst event. So, kani siya is multiple activities emerge from one point. So, daghan og multiple activities nga mag-emerge sa isa lang ka point. The next is merge and burst event. So, service as both merge and burst event for different activities. Third na to is ang sequencing. Kani siya is establishing precedence relationship is critical for developing the network diagram. So, this framework helps in organizing project activities and understanding their interdependencies. So that could be for the networking diagram presentation.
Hello everyone, I'm Kurt Evanlauri and I'll be discussing rules for drawing network diagram. Rules for drawing network diagrams to create an accurate and understandable network diagram. So, rules for drawing network diagram has 3 rules. Rule number 1, each activity is represented by one and only arrow in the network. So, para mas ganda ka, one and only arrow. So, isa ka arrow lang gamiton. Then, ang arrow siguro siya kay, ang starting point sa arrow is left, then ang ending point is right. Sa base ang research kay, with siya, yung starting point sa arrow is left with siya, then going to right. So, that's all for the rule number 1. So, rule number 2, by no two activities can be identified by the same end events. So, dapat kay each activity must have a unique starting and ending point. And no two activities can share the same starting and ending points. So, para mo siguro nga, need siya nga mag-start siya sa unique place or unique starting point nga tawag na kanang wala siya kaparehas, then same na siya sa yung ending point nga need dapat nga unit na wala siya ka same og kanang katugpahan or unsa ba na siya nga pagkuan. So that's all for rule number 2, and the last one is rule number 3. Rule number 3 is combination na siya sa rule number 1 and number 2. So rule number 3 is when drawing a large network diagram of a project management, it's crucial to follow certain guidelines to maintain and ease for interpretation. So you need to follow those guidelines in rules number 1 and 2. So follow the rules. Sa example, so rule number 1. Rule number 1 is need siya nga rin mag-start sa left to right. So mo siya yung kanang rules na i-follow niya sa ang muna i-follow sa rules number 3. So murag ko na siya kanang i-combine ang duha ka rules. So ang sa rules number 2 naman ang makuha rin kay dapat ang unique na starting and ending point. So dapat kay wala isyo ka pareha nga starting ay samot nag-ending point kay if nasa ka pareha kay siya identified. So that's all para sa rules for drawing network diagram. Common error in drawing networks has 3 errors. 3 types of errors that are most commonly observed in drawing network diagrams. So number 1 is dangling. Dangling is a dangling error in the text of network diagram, particularly project management. Operation research occurs when activity is disconnected for all activities in the network are completed. So ang kanya na kay kung mag-bot siya yung dalan yun. Example, ang ilang goal is anong straight pero siya nga diagram, but example straight, then okay, dangling man ka diri ka daw. So pag ana nimo diri ka mag-stop nga part, so diri ka sa sobra ka diri ka magkuan, then yung mga uban nga kauban mag straight na. So para siya makita sa PowerPoint karon nga na percent. So isa ang iya nga pas para mas mapadali ang pagsabot niyo ana is diri sa figure number 1. So in number 5 to 10, that's dangling. Kaya pero itong ikaw na nga maglahi siya o subay sa dalan ng. Then kung sabihin mo ko ng 8 o 11, that's not dangling. Kay connect niya po siya, example sa 8 to 11, then ang 11 kay ka-connect niya sa 12, so continue ka po niyang padayon. So number 2 is looping or cycling. Looping or cycling is a network looping error when there's a loop and a network is formed. So kanang pero gabalik-balik kanang sig balik-balik kanang sig tuyo pero siya permitting hindi siya mahuman. So pwede sa figure number 2 is kaning number 1, number 12, 13, 14, and 15. So kaya naman siguro natin tuyo kung siya. Okay, sugod sa 12 going to 13 and then sa 14 and then naabot siya sa 15 and then balik sa 12. So mas madali siyang pagpasabot ng F1 if dali ka sa 20, 22, and 23 and 21. Yeah, that's looping. So mas better siya sabton mo kay dali mo ngayon siya no? Dali mo siya sabton kay mag-start ka sa 20, then ang arrow sa 20 going to 22. So ang arrow sa 22 going to 23. So ang arrow sa 23 going to 21. So ang 21 to 20. So klaro mo siguro nga tuyo per 20 based sa imong nakita sa PowerPoint. Then dili mo siya ingon nga ang 23 niya ga straight na siya sa ending point, but gabalik siya sa 21 muna siya magpadali sa explanation with kay dili ka mabisa sa arrow ginyaw. kay iyang arrow kay mura siya mag-identify kung asa padulong. And that's so the last one is redundancy. Redundancy is necessarily inserting the dummy activity in the network logic. It is known as the error of redundancy as shown in the following diagram. So based on my research, redundancy is a process of providing multiple paths for traffic so that it can keep flowing even in the event of a failure. So, based kita nyo dito sa figure number 3 sa redundancy, di ba kaning 10, then ang na-block dapat iyang ang sa 10 o sa 12 hindi ba na-block ilang kanang murag ang way nila kay ulay arrow ang sa 10 o sa 12, but tungod sa redundancy kay ang redundancy kay more siya ga buhat og path kay para dili ma-traffic ang data or unsa ba na siya nga na traffic dira dapat. So tungod na kay more iyang ikon nga ikan sa 10 nagbuhat siya og new path nga that's number 11. So ang imbis nga 10 to 12 nahimo siyang 10 to 11 tungod sa new path. So andito nga na stock there sa 10 ipadulong sa 12 dito na ipasa sa 11, then ang 11 mo siya nahimo nga murag tulay nila. Then so ang data nga na pasa sa 10 to 11 ipasa na sa 11 to 12. So yun nakalibog mansay. So magkuhan siya. So pwede sa akong nagakuhan ganin na mention nga dami. Ang iyang dami mo na siyang number 11. Number 11. Number 11. Kaya murag mo na siya ibuhat na nga path nga para na yung magandita. Parang balik na ko. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
I'm Shenna Ignacio. Now I will discuss the advantages and disadvantage of PERT or CPM. First, a PERT or CPM chart explicitly defines and makes visible independence, present relationship between the elements. So, defines and show dependencies clearly. Chart visually display how tasks are related, showing which task must be completed before others can begin. And second advantage is facilitate identification of the critical path and makes this visible, and identifies the critical path. It highlights the longest sequence of dependence. That's the critical path, helping managers focus on activities that directly affect the project deadline. And third, facilitates the identification of early start, late start, and slack for each activity. So, show early start, late start, and slack. The chart helps determine when each task can start the earliest or latest without delaying the project, and identifies any flexibility, slack, and scheduling. And the last advantages is provides more potentially reduced project duration due to better understanding of dependencies, leading to improved overlapping activities and tasks were visible. So helps shorten project duration by clearly showing tasks dependencies. It allows for better planning and possible overlapping of tasks, leading to faster project completions. Next is disadvantages of PERT or CPM. First is there can be potentially hundreds or thousands of activities and individual dependency relationship. Um, Too many activities and dependencies. Large project can have hundreds or thousands of tasks, making the chart complex and to manage and difficult to manage. And second is the network chart to be large and unwieldy, requiring several pages to and requiring special size paper. So large and hard to handle chart that then network diagrams can become so big that they require multiple pages or special paper size, making them impractical to use. And third is the lack of time frame on most PERT or CPM charts makes it harder to show status, although colors can help specific color for completed nodes. And lack of time frame and display. Most PERT CPM chart don't show a clear timeline, making it hard to track progress without using extra visual aids like color coding. And the last disadvantage is when the PERT or CPM charts become unwieldy, they are no longer used to manage the project and becomes impractical for project management. When charts become too complex, they are often abandoned, reducing reducing their usefulness as a project management tool. That's the disadvantage and advantage of PERT or CPM. The critical path in network analysis, basics, scheduling computation, use in project management, and network planning like CPM and PERT to determine the timeline of activities and identify potential delays of load. So first, represent an activity that start at event I, tell, and ends at event G is head. Second is earliest occurrence time event I. The earliest time an event I can occur based on the earliest completion of all preceding activities. Third is latest allowable occurrence time of event. The latest time event G can occur without delaying the project. Fourth, um, duration, the estimated time required to complete activity. And fifth, early start, the earliest time activity is ing, can start ei. And six, ef, earliest finish, the earliest time activity ig can finish es ig plus and dig. 7 is lf, the latest finish, the latest time activity ig and can finish lg. 8 is the ls, latest start, the latest time activity ig can start without delaying the project lf or dig. So this computation help identify the critical path, slack times, and ensure optimal project um, schedule. The procedure um, to determine of earliest time forward past computation. Step 1, the computation begins from the start node and move towards the end node. For SNS, the forward pass computation start by assuming earliest occurrence time of 0 for the initial project event. Step 2, early starting time of activity is the earliest event time of the tail event I or and earliest finish time of activity is the early starting time plus the activity time. And the last earliest event time for G is the maximum of the earliest finish time of all activities ending into that event. E or equal max or estimate finish for all immediate predecessor of um, tail and head, or E equal max and E plus D. That's the steps of or show the proper procedure. That's
So 3.2 is project evaluation and review technique. So PERT program evaluation and review technique is a project management method that considers uncertainties by using three estimates for each activity. So number one is optimistic time, shortest possible time assuming every goes well. And two is most likely time, normal time assuming typical delays. And three is pessimistic time, longest time assuming every goes wrong. So these estimates are used to calculate expected expected time, average time calculated as 0 T0 plus 4 TM plus TP. And two is variance, 0 to measure of uncertainty calculated as TP T0. And PERT helps determine the likelihood of completing a project within a specific time frame.